I'm Monica. This is my friend Heather Grzych. She is an Ayurvedic practitioner, a yoga teacher, and she is the author of a women's fertility book. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're here at her home in Sausalito. I love the place. So Heather, tell me a little bit about your background. Tell me a bit about your Ayurvedic background.
Yeah. So I came to Ayurveda through studying yoga. I first heard about it in a yoga teacher training, actually, that we were in together many years ago.
Right, we were.
And I said, what's that they just taught us about? That Ayurveda stuff. That makes total sense, and why doesn't anybody know about it in the United States? And so I just got super curious about it and kept studying it, and I ultimately ended up getting a master's degree in it and changed my career and wrote a book about it. Yeah.
Heather was a corporate lady.
And still am in a lot of ways.
And still is. And she pursued her yoga and Ayurvedic passions full time, right?
Yeah.
Which was very gutsy of her. And now she's the author of a women's fertility book.
Yep, and that'll probably be released April or May next year. Doesn't have a title yet, but it's about conception, natural conception with Ayurveda.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to read Heather's book. I've been wanting to know more about it, and I wanted to read her manuscript and all that, but I guess I'll just wait and find out more about it. I guess I want to know, what sparked your interest in doing this women's fertility and conception book?
Yeah. I had been writing for many years, and I always wanted to write a book, and I just didn't think I had a concise, concrete enough idea for a topic. And then I had finished my master's degree, and my master's thesis was quite long, and I really enjoyed writing it. And I said, okay, well, I've been writing a whole bunch of stuff the last couple of years. What have I been writing about? And it was a very bottom-up process for me. I went and looked at all my writing and said, oh, I'm writing about how to get pregnant naturally. And how it's a struggle as a woman, especially at the time I was in my late 30s.
That's right.
So it was how it's such a big struggle to even decide whether or not you want to have a kid. So I wanted to write a book addressing that for the modern woman, especially because we have so many options today, but a lot of us really suck at having kids. We're really good at doing a bunch of other things, but then when we decide we want to have a child, it doesn't end up being a really super easy process for a lot of women.
And I totally understand that, because we have a lot of career options for women now, and we always have to balance our career and our home life and our family, and I guess a lot of women could really use your book, because we always are struggling with that right now in this modern day and age.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give for a woman, say in her late 30s, in your position, about having a baby?
Yeah, I think the thing I see most commonly is that once a woman hits the late 30s, they immediately just want to run and go get some sort of medically assisted treatment. So they want to get IUI or IVF or something like that. And I didn't go that route, and I didn't want to. And I said, I want this to happen naturally. And so what I would do with women is I help them get themselves healthy.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
So we don't have to seek out other things. We have to kind of be healthy from within first, would you say?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you focus on getting you healthy, and if you are meant to do this, it's going to happen. But you want to do it with you being in the best position.
Right.
And in your best health. Start from there.
So in our most optimum health position, and we have to trust. So would you say trust and faith have a lot to do with it?
Yes.
Right. Awesome. And Heather actually had her baby.
Mm-hmm.
How old is he now?
He's almost 2.5.
2.5. Wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you had him?
I was 39.
39.
When I had him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were there any complications or no?
No. I mean, we got pregnant on the first try.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
That was really wild.
Wow.
And then being older, I think he had to be induced. There was a whole bunch of stuff with the birth, but the actual conception was pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to actually work in a fertility clinic on a temp assignment, and we had a lot of women come in there, and they would spend literally mortgage payments on this IVF treatment.
Yeah.
And they just, I was kind of...
Yeah, I'd say I'm a little bit on a mission. because I do still work in the corporate world and I'm engaged even with like a lot of HR departments, these companies, especially a lot of the competitive tech companies, they're offering women egg freezing benefits.
Wow.
So they'll pay for you to get your eggs frozen. And just think about that. Like, here, give us your most fertile years of your life when you'll also have the most energy to work a lot. Give us those years. Put your fertility off. Bank it. Here's your insurance policy. Oh, and we'll pay for that for you, so we get your best years.
I don't know how I feel about that, but I can see how that's appealing to some women.
Yeah. And I'm glad I didn't have that choice when I was in my 20s, because I probably would have done that.
Yeah.
But I also know that you don't have to.
Yeah, so you don't have to go do that if you're offered that by your company. Disclaimer.
Yeah. I guess for me, I just wanted to give women a book, some source that would show them that even if they wait, it's going to be fine. Just take care of yourself.
Heather used to work in the corporate world, and I guess my question is, how does a woman in modern day and age balance her femininity and masculinity in order to, I guess, advance her career, but also maintain her personal life and, I guess, inner feminine domain? How would you address that?
Yeah. I think women are really confused about how to be when they're in these corporate environments, because I'll just give a really good example. I have a really tall, gorgeous, pregnant woman who's a bombshell, beautiful woman with pregnant, huge belly, giant, gorgeous breasts. And, she walks in the room and she's just this big, fertile goddess, and she comes in and she was about to, we had a session together and she was going to go meet with some people from work, and she really felt this need to cover herself up, and I was like, honey, there's no hiding that body now, and it's beautiful. But she's like, I'm going to meet with a bunch of engineers, I really gotta, I've got to hide this, right? So I think what's challenging is that we're in these environments where we're not supposed to be human. Right. But like we are, our mind, our body, everything. We have these biological processes going on all the time, and hormones and all these weird things. But somehow in these environments where we think we're supposed to be different, and we're coming in contact with a lot of people, a lot of times we don't recognize how much that actually affects us. So that's one way I think women have it challenging, just because we are fertile, beautiful goddesses, and
yes, and we have a lot of sensuality, but we're supposed to cover it up at work.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I mean, you could kind of say the same thing about when you go into a religious domain in a church or something. You have to cover your body. Women's bodies are inspiring. Yes, for people, and unfortunately, it's very challenging for a lot of men to be around that, not to give them any excuses, right? Because they need self-control. But I think women then are afraid to show themselves in certain ways, and can even push it past the point of themselves, getting too crazy about it and trying to cover up their beauty,
Right. I try to cover myself at work because everyone's very, very button up, top collar at my workplace, and so I can't be myself in that way.
I think a lot of people feel that way, and I think one of the most wonderful things is, as an individual, when you go into these environments, to say, like, can I do my job and still feel beautiful and happy and whole, and whatever that looks like. If it's okay, maybe I'm not like showing cleavage or whatever, but I have something, I'm wearing something beautiful, or I am happy with myself. I don't feel like I'm having to cover myself up in some way. I can shine and actually bring my beauty as an asset to my job. It's not a threat to be beautiful.
It's not a threat to be beautiful and sensual.
No, it's an asset.
No. I completely agree.
Yeah. I just had a really interesting interaction with an executive in a company recently in the last month, and she was saying, I just want to go in my office and cry.
I know the feeling.
And she felt really free to say that to me, and I was really happy that she felt she could say that. And I shared a story about when I cried in a meeting with my CEO and the entire executive team. And I shared how it went, and it was really like this uncomfortable situation, but somehow it ended up being the most productive meeting of my entire career because of the way it was resolved.
Huh.
And it really taught me a lesson about emotions, that you have to feel what you're feeling, and things do have to get uncomfortable sometimes, and you should allow things to pass and have skills to learn how to say things with some savvy to it. But really, the critical piece in all of this is once the emotions pass and whatever is said and done or whatever happens, it's what you do afterwards with that to take actions from there, because emotions are really learning tools.
They are.
They tell you where you are now, what you're feeling now. They don't tell you how things are going to be later. And your ability to become vulnerable is an asset.
That's really interesting, because you think in corporate culture that we all have our, our shields up, and we're very masculine in this corporate culture. So how would we be vulnerable, and how would that be an asset?
Yeah, I mean, when you become vulnerable with someone, you get closer with them. There's an opportunity to become closer, even if you share something about yourself that doesn't feel like it's that buttoned up, perfect human that you want everybody to think you are, which none of us are.
No.
But the moment you show that realness and that sensitivity, there's a closeness that happens. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend all day going into an environment with people I don't like.
Yes.
You should work with people that you like.
Yeah, and I agree with that. What would you do if you work with someone you really don't like?
Try not to work with them. No, try to learn from it. But at a certain point, you're not supposed to like everyone. And you try to work through it, and you try to learn for yourself, like, why you're feeling a certain way. And it may just be completely unresolvable, whatever it is. It may be an energy thing. There's a lot of different reasons, but you need to direct yourself to the environments where you grow and thrive as an individual. Your intellect needs to give you that sense of direction.
I see.
Yeah.
So the vibe is everything.
Vibe is part of it, and your self-awareness.
And self-awareness.
Your self-awareness is super important, because every environment you go into is a opportunity for learning.
Exactly. I have some learning opportunities at my work that I'm experiencing at the moment. And yes, it's not like I want to be vulnerable with these types of people, but I guess it's part of how you learn and resolve situations sometimes.
And it's also challenging because they're doing the same thing you're doing. Everybody's putting up a persona because they've got a job description and they're supposed to be like that job description says, but they're really a person having a life experience. And when you can get past all that stuff and really truly connect with a person, then you'll enjoy working with them more.
Right. Yes.
So it's happening on all sides, and that's part of, like, when I go and do like change management consulting with companies as well, using Ayurvedic principles. It's really cool when you see people really truly connect.
Yeah. I guess it's about finding common ground too, because we're all really very much more the same than we are different. And I find like for me, if I could try to connect to the similarity in another person, that really helps me break down the barriers of, I guess, antagonistic energy or a lot of stories at my work going on right now.
And sometimes a lot of that comes from people feeling threatened in some way by other people, and a lot of times that comes from just feeling safe. Everyone has to feel really safe where they are.
Exactly.
And how the methods that you use to feel safe with people.
Wow, I'm learning a lot. I think I've solved all my problems at work now.
Yeah, or just when all else fails, just cry your eyes out.
Yeah.
See what happens.